Welcome guys back to another video in the channel. Today we'll be looking at the Arsenal squad, who needs to stay, who needs to go, and what a realistic transfer window could be for us as we edge towards the end of the season and going straight into the transfer window. So let's get straight into this video. So I have the squad, the full first team squad in front of me, and I'm going through what we can sell, what we can do realistically in the transfer window to try and build up some funds and try and sign some players. So first of all, I'm going to do a stay or go for the whole Arsenal squad. So starting off with Bernd Leno, obviously he needs to stay at this club. He is a very important goalkeeper. He is injured, and the next goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, he has been playing a deputy to Leno, has been playing really well. So I think I want both of them to stay, to be honest. And Emi Martinez and Bernd Leno, I do think they need to stay. Next one is Matt Macey. Now, he has signed a new contract, I believe, Matt Macey, and his contract was running out, and he's not really played at all. I think he had one or two appearances in the Europa League or in the Carabao or something like that. But I do think Matt Macey, as a third choice goalkeeper, may as well just stay at the club as well. So the three goalkeepers, I think, do need to stay at the club. Now, so I'm going to go into the defenders now. Starting off with Hector Bellerin, I'm going to say go, because he is just not consistent enough, and I do think we need to move on from him. You know, he's not a kid anymore, he is 24 years old, and I do think the time for him is up at this club. That is just my opinion, and I think that is Hector Bellerin. So going into the next defender is Kieran Tierney. Obviously he's going to stay. He has been very, very good for us this season, and I think he deserves a place in the squad for next season. So that is my opinion on Kieran Tierney, and if you guys know me well enough, I really highly rate Kieran Tierney. It's probably one of my favourite players in the squad at the moment. Next one is Socrates Papastotopoulos. Now Socrates, he's not very favoured by Mikel Arteta. At the start of his reign, he was playing quite a lot under Mikel, but for some reason now he's just not playing. I don't think he's played like a minute or something, Socrates. So again, he's back from his injury, but I just don't know what's going on with him. So I'm going to say go for him. I do think he's quite old, but he's said he wants to see out his contract, but I do think we need to try and get some money from this summer. So that is Socrates. I'm going to say go for him. Rob Holding is the next one. This one is quite an interesting one in my opinion, because I don't know what Mikel Arteta wants with him, but Rob Holding, he is quite an average player in my opinion. I don't think he's got enough to make it that good. But I think as a backup player, I think he is quite decent, and that's why I'm going to say Rob Holding to stay. Next one is Cedric Suarez. He has just signed, so I'm not really going to say anything about him. Next one is Shkodran Mustafi. Now I'm going to say go for him. He was brought into the side after Mikel Arteta was appointed, and he has played a lot of games under Mikel and has been very important under him. But I do think he does need to still go. He's not... It's quite an interesting one with Mustafi, because he's played well, but he still has mistakes in him. That means that he just doesn't perform well enough, and I do think he needs to go. And I think because we're playing him so well, we can get a good chunk of money for Shkodran Mustafi. Next one is Callum Chambers. Now Callum Chambers, he's got some long-term injury, so I don't think he'll go this summer, which is why I'm going to say stay, because he is injured and Mikel Arteta hasn't had a chance to play with him, and I think he can be a decent backup on right back and in centre back, so that's why I'm going to keep Callum Chambers. Next one is Pablo Mari. Obviously he's injured, I'm not going to mark him. Obviously he's just joined. So next one is David Luiz. He has signed a new contract with the club. Again, I can't really say anything about him because he's going to stay for another year. He is not going to go this summer. He has signed a new contract. Next one is Sead Kolasinac. Now for me, Sead Kolasinac needs to go. He is just not good enough at the moment, and does that mean we have to go inside another left back? Because, you know, do we? Because we have Bukayo Saka in that position, but we might, and we do have Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well, but it'll be interesting to see what we can do. But I do think Sead Kolasinac needs to go. We signed him on a free, and I do think any sort of money would be good for him, up to £20 million I'd suggest, but I would say go for Sead Kolasinac. Now we're going to move into the midfielders. First of all, Dani Ceballos. Now Dani Ceballos, he's someone... Again, I'm going to say stay, but I think Dani Ceballos has to stay, but it's not down to Arsenal's hands whether Real Madrid want to sell him. It looks like Zinedine Zidane doesn't want him, so I do think he will stay at this club, but personally I want Ceballos to stay. Next one is Mesut Ozil. Now for me, he has to go. Obviously this is the main one we have to get rid of this summer. Such high wages, and he is literally frauding this whole club right now. He's frauding them out of so much. You know, Fenerbahce made an approach for him just like in the last few days, and he rejected it. You know, His agent has signalled that Ozil just wants to see out the rest of his contract, just get the £80 million in. Obviously, as a business point of view, that seems like a good idea for Ozil to do, you know, take the big money from Arsenal. But again, that is down to Arsenal's fault for giving him that contract in the first place. Next one is Lucas Torreira. Now, Lucas Torreira, in my opinion, needs to go. This may be a bit controversial, but I do think Torreira's time is up. He's not favoured under Mikel Arteta, and he's not doing any justice for himself, especially that performance against Aston Villa, and he wasn't too great against Liverpool either. So I do think he will go, and I think he'll be someone who will make way for someone else, like a Thomas Partey or a Mark Roca. I don't know, but I do think Lucas Torreira will go as well. Next one is Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, if you asked me this question a month ago or in lockdown, I would have just said go. But now I'm going to say stay, because Ainsley Maitland-Niles, especially after that Man City performance, is showing that he is a vital part of the squad, whether that's right back, right wing back, left wing back. He is a very good player, very versatile, can play anywhere across the midfield and the wing back role, so I do think he needs to stay at this club. Next one is Joe Willock. Now, Joe Willock, again, young player, there's no point really selling him, so I would say stay for him. And next one is Matteo Guendouzi. Now, Guendouzi, my God. Again, this is one of the ones, if you asked me this a month ago in lockdown, I would have said stay. But unfortunately for him, he's messed around too much. He's gone too, you know, he's got some proper issues, and I think I'm going to say go for him. He's not apologised, and I think we can get a decent chunk of money. You know, teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain will be looking at someone like Guendouzi and saying, you know, if we can get his anger issues under control, then he could be a very good player. But he's not working under Arteta. We have to trust him, and if for him to leave is going to improve our squad, if that means we get better players in, I think we'll have to get rid of Matteo Guendouzi. Next one is Granit Xhaka. This is, for me, pretty obvious, and he has to stay. He's a vital part of Mikel Arteta's plans. He is a very good player on our midfield, very instrumental in game, and I do think he needs to stay at this club. Next one is Bukayo Saka. Now, Saka has to stay, obviously. He signed that new contract and he's not going anywhere. Next one is Alexandre Lacazette. Now, this is a very, very tricky one in my opinion, because Lacazette, thing is with Lacazette, look, I think he'll only leave if there's a good enough offer for him, or if we put in a swap deal for someone like a Thomas Partey. But for me, Alexandre Lacazette probably needs to go if we are looking at someone like Joseph Fernandez. But I do think Alexandre Lacazette does need to leave this club, and we could get a decent chunk of money for him. So I'm going to say go for now for Lacazette. I know he's been in good form, but he's just not consistent enough. He is edging towards the twilight, and if we are giving Aubameyang a new contract, I don't think we should give Lacazette a new one along with it. That leads us perfectly on to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and this is an obvious stay. He needs to stay at this club. We need him to get signed a new contract, and that will probably be one of the stories of the summer if he does, and that's why Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang needs to stay. Next one is Nicola Pepe. Again, needs to stay. He just joined last season, and he's only going to get better, so I'm going to keep Nicola Pepe. Next one is Reiss Nelson. Again, young player, needs to stay. Maybe loan deal, but again, with Gabriel Martinelli out for the rest of this year, he will need to stay, and he'll probably play a good role later on. Next one is Eddie Nketiah. Again, stay, young player. He's a striker, could be a future Alexandre Lacazette replacement, but again, he's not great, I'd say, but he has lots of potential and he could be a very good player for us, so Eddie Nketiah stay. Last one is Gabriel Martinelli. Again, he's a player that he's just, after that Chelsea goal, he just sort of just disappeared. He's just not played. And I would say stay for him. He's got so much potential. And when he comes back in 2021, hopefully he can come back a much better player. And a player that could really challenge in the first team and try and get some more minutes under his belt and become a much, much better player. So that is it for a stay or go for the Arsenal squad. Now I'm going to go into the potential arrivals that I want at Arsenal. So first signing I think Arsenal should bring in, which is the priority signing, is Thomas Partey. Now Thomas Partey, I've made a transfer video on him earlier on my channel. Like one of the first videos I made on my channel was Thomas Partey, and he is a very, very good player. You know, in our midfield, alongside the likes of Granit Xhaka, it will allow Dani Ceballos to go more up the pitch, and I do think Thomas Partey as a midfield option, if we do get rid of Torreira and Guendouzi, he will be very, very vital in our squad. So that's why I would bring in Thomas Partey as one priority signing. Next one I'm going to go with it is Dani Ceballos. I've said this earlier, I do want him to stay, but obviously I have to mention it here because I do think Arsenal should make another season loan for him, for Dani Ceballos, and I do think he should stay at the club. He has been very good since the lockdown, and I do think we should bring in Dani Ceballos back. Next one is I do think Arsenal should bring in is Philippe Coutinho. Now Philippe Coutinho is someone who has been linked with a swap for Matteo Guendouzi, and I do think as a number 10, especially when Ozil is out of favour, Philippe Coutinho could be someone who could bring lots of goals from the midfield, which is something we don't have, and I do think he could be a very good player we could bring into the side. Next signing, again, this may sound a bit unrealistic, but could be a real possibility, is Dayot Upamecano. Now, I do think we need to bring in another centre-back, especially when Saliba's coming back. You need someone else next to him, to form a long-term partnership. Maybe you'd have Mari/Luiz, as like the left-sided ones, and then you'd have Saliba and someone else next to him, because I don't want Sead Kolasinac on that side, nor do I really want Holding, and I don't really want Mustafi either, because they're just not good enough for this club. They're very average, and I do think we need someone like Upamecano to form a long-term partnership with the likes of William Saliba. So I do think we need to sign someone like Dayot Upamecano. Malang Sarr has been linked, but I think Upamecano is the right choice right now, and I do think he needs to be one of the signings we need to make this summer. So lastly, the maybe signing. Now this is a maybe signing, is like we could bring in if someone leaves. Now for me, this is a sort of a backup for Lacazette, and this is Gelson Fernandes. Now Gelson Fernandes has been linked. Arsenal reportedly very interested in this player and willing to trigger his release clause of 41 million euros. He's a 17-year-old, which is quite young for a forward. He plays in Portugal for Sporting CP, and he is dubbed the new Cristiano Ronaldo. Arsenal do want him, and apparently really close to signing him, and I do think he could be a very good player. Again, it's not a priority position, but if Mikel Arteta doesn't want to bring him in, why not? But yeah, that is it for the signings, incomings, and I've done incomings and outcomings. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't enjoyed, please do like, subscribe. We need money in this transfer window to make some of these signings happen, so hopefully the owner back us. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.